Welcome to the fifth part of the journey with Natty Mark. This one is called the canvas and the paintbrush. So we're going to be looking at the art of Africa and the Caribbean. Now it's quite hard to fit that all into half an hour. Tough going, really. But what we're going to do, we're going to kind of break it down as much as we can. We're going to look at the ancient, and then we're going to look at the new, and then we're going to go back to the old. Okay. Let's start off with Ethiopia. Okay. Amongst its many kind of celebratory aspects is that it was one of the first countries in the world to adopt Christianity. This happened in the 4th century. And I just want to digress a little bit to say something about kind of in the times of, kind of conflict between Muslims, Islamic societies and Christian societies, and a lot of this kind of prejudice that's out there. One of the great stories of ancient Ethiopia is that when Prophet Muhammad started to tell people of Islam, the people who ran things in Saudi Arabia at that time, the Qurayshi clan, didn't like that. So they had to leave Saudi Arabia. And Prophet Muhammad said, if you look across to Ethiopia, the king there will give you refuge. And he did. Even when the leading members of the Qurayshi clan came across the water to Ethiopia to demand that these people were sent back, he refused to send them back. Now this is a Christian king giving refuge, giving asylum to the first Muslims. Now this story isn't known, but when we think about all this kind of conflict between this religious group and another religious group and this society, another society, we need to remember stories such as that this Christian king gave asylum, gave refuge to the first Muslims. Okay, as I said, it was one of the first countries to adopt Christianity as its national religion in the 4th century. So let's look at Ethiopia. But before I look at the art, I just want to show you some beautiful pictures of the people. Now these, now if you imagine yourself going off to a festival or something, this is the same thing that's happening there. These people are going to a religious festival. Okay, and I love this photograph of this matriarch. It's beautiful. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at the people before we look at this particular paintings I want to show you. Okay, this is one of the churches called Lalibela, which is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These churches were hewed out of stone, out of volcanic rock, in a place called Lalibela, which is one of the most important spiritual sites for the Ethiopians. There you go. A midnight vigil. Lovely. Very golden green, the colours of sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, we're going to come back to that. That's what I want to show you. Okay, so carry on. There's a priest. Coffee, which is which you might call the national drink of Ethiopia. It's a real ceremony in the making of the coffee.
and coffee beans were first found in Ethiopia by an Ethiopian shepherd. I sat, I think this is a fig tree, and I sat by a fig tree on my last day in Ethiopia. Just stunning photographs. And lovely. I just like this contrast, a face of age and a face of youth. Okay, so let's go back to the painting that I want to show you. Okay. These paintings were painted back in the day using natural pigments. You know, they didn't have things like acrylic and such things. So these were all made from natural pigments, whether it be leaves or juices, roots, whatever. And if you see these pictures, you can see that there's more of, how can I say, more of a proper depiction of the people of that area. Because often when you look at a Christian photograph, especially of Jesus, he looks like he came from Scandinavia. When you think about it, if he was born in Palestine or Israel, whichever term you prefer to use, the people were darker skinned. There's more like an olive complexion rather than this kind of white face and blue eyes and blonde hair, which looks like it came from Sweden rather than Palestine. So, and if you look here, you see where they've actually kind of given the Ethiopians this kind of, the afro and the dark skin, and if you look at the figures, the other figures, you will see that they've got this darker complexion, which more represents the people of the Middle East. And if you go in all the churches and monasteries of Ethiopia, this is what you'll see. Okay. What I'm going to do is read you something from my last day in Ethiopia. This is called Under the Fig Tree. So it's me just kind of sitting there on my last day and just looking back over my time there. Lake Tana, the largest lake in Ethiopia and the source of the Blue Nile. Central to the lives of the people of Bahir Dar, Ethiopia's 7th largest city. On my last day in Ethiopia, I sat blessed by the sun under an awesome fig tree on the lakeside, relaxing in sweet reminiscence of cycling up to the Blue Nile, weaving in and out with the 3-wheel taxis, sharing the road with the cattle, letting the goats and their herder pass by. Back around the lake, I bought lentil samosas called sambusa from 2 boys. Passing a marshy area, I stood and watched a farmer tending to his mangoes and papayas. Onwards to a little wooded area where a musician in a wheelchair, playing a traditional harp called begena, entertained those who gathered around. Past a spot where people bathed, soap and laughter in the water. Onward to where the man was making a tankwa, a canoe-like craft made from papyrus reeds. I was told it took a day to make the smaller ones, 2 days for the larger. They've been making them that way since time began. The children diving off rocks and splashing around, the adults chatting around them. A solitary fisherman in his tankwa, checking his nets, watched by the pelicans, and I. The journey across the lake to the medieval island monasteries on Gena, Christmas Day, January the 7th, ibises flying above me. Near the Deborah Mariam Monastery Isle, where the lake becomes a river, also the heads of 2 hippopotamuses. I had a chat with some guys under a tree of shade, speaking of Ethiopian history, buying drinks from a lakeside bar. I wish I could have sat longer under that fig tree, but it was time to go. So I searched along the bank, finding pieces of volcanic rock to keep as souvenirs, alongside the mementos sparkling in my head. Okay, so that looks at some of the art of Ethiopia. Now we're going to go to Nigeria. Okay, so much that you can say about Nigeria, but we're just going to focus on something called indigo. Now, indigo produces this blue in various shades. So before I read something that I've written, I just want to show you this this blue that was produced. So you can see it there, and also see it there. This is all about dyeing, D-Y-E-I-N-G. And these people are called the blue men of the desert. And sometimes the blue is much richer than that. But these men are called the blue men of the desert. They're the Tuareg. They are the ones who kind of controlled the kind of trade across the Saharan desert. The trade couldn't have happened if it wasn't for the kind of the skill and experience that these guys have in traversing the sands. So they would come into Nigeria and have their garments dyed by the dyers in Nigeria. Okay, so I'm just going to read a short poem called "Magicians of Indigofera." So Indigofera is a Latin or scientific name for indigo, and I call them magicians because people would bring cloth to them of whatever color, and they would dye it in this beautiful hues of blues and purples. So that's why I call them magicians, because they're able to transform this cloth into this rich blue. Okay, so it's a short poem. The first part talks about the actual pits, and the second part talks about, it's almost like a lamentation, because it talks about the way this skill in dyeing is dying out, because people can now get cheaper fabrics. Then the trade in the dyeing is basically dying. Which reminds me of, I remember one day cycling through Ifley village, and I'll see a guy thatching, and I've never seen that before. So I stopped having a little word, and he told me that is actually dying out. You know, the people who can still thatch, because the ones who could do it before, aging or have died. There's only a few left who are still doing it, and that reminded me of what's happening to these dye pits in Nigeria. Okay, it's called "Magicians of Indigofera." And I'm pretending that I'm actually, in this first part, I'm pretending that I'm actually one of these dyers who've been doing it for decades. Okay. We've become magicians of Indigofera, those of us who have worked long at the pits of Kofamata. I was 75 2 days ago, and since the age of 6, I've worked the dye pits of Kano. Every day I dip and soak to embellish the turban, the robe and the cloak. Here comes a Tuareg man. Here comes the men of the Emir. Here comes the teacher of the Quran. These pits 5 centuries old, indigo wore to potassium and ash, the craft of working blue gold. Recognised trademark of the Hausa, to the blue-robed, black-turbaned men away across the Sahara. These pits 6 metres deep have bestowed upon me dignity. Bless my children with peaceful sleep. Many elders have seen their last son, ancient skills gone elsewhere. Where is the son and the grandson? The war of the foreign fabrics have taken them away from here to try other trades and tactics. Though the foreign cloth is cheaper, magnet for the poor man, our hand-woven cloth is stronger. So many pits lying fallow, full of rubbish and of stones. I cry for you, grey Kano. I work beside the crumbling walls, alongside the disused pits, diminished piles of indigo balls. Ancient brew of indigo blue, from the dye pits of Kofamata, from the weaver to the dyer, to you. Okay, so that celebrates the tradition of indigo dyeing in Nigeria. Okay, from there we're going to stay with Nigeria and look at some pictures of one of the most important artists of the modern era, Ben Nwanwu. Now he has a connection to this country because from Nigeria, from the Igbo people. I just mentioned some other great Igbo people before I go on. There's Simon Okeke, Uchi Okeke, and Demas Onwoko, and also the great poet Christopher Okigbo. Okay, so Ben Nwanwu we're going to focus on. So as I say, he has a connection here because he came here, he studied at Goldsmiths College. Because he was here during wartime, he was evacuated. He actually came here to Oxford and studied at Ruskin College. So this is the great Ben Nwanwu. So let's look at some of his work. So Head of a Yoruba Girl. So as I say, he was Igbo. So the Igbo people live on the south east of Nigeria, and the Yoruba are the main ethnicity in the southwest. So that's a sculpture of his. Head of a Yoruba Girl, and if we go on, okay, this one's called Knowledge, and that's a bronze piece in bronze. He was very much into traditional Nigerian kind of symbolism. So these are all around the masking tradition. Now this one, when we talk about iconic figures of women, we tend to think of Mona Lisa first of all. Now this is Nigeria's iconic woman, Tutu. This was painted by Ben Nwanwu, and they say that this is the most popular of all the paintings that people have on their walls in their houses in Nigeria. Is this one, Tutu, and this was a painting of a Nigerian princess. Okay, so there's in colour. Anyanwu is another piece in bronze, and Anyanwu is like the Igbo deity of the sun. Anyanwu. Okay, and I'm gonna see if I can find the one in here that he done, because he was the first ever African artist to get a commission from European royalty, and he actually sculpted. So there's another one, Nnamdi Azikiwe, who you can see on my wall up here. And Nnamdi Azikiwe, so this is him here. He was a great political activist for Nigerian independence, a great journalist, and became the first leader of independent Nigeria. So this is a statue that Ben Nwanwu did of him, of Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Hold on. Yep.
And I'm just trying to see if I can find it. This is the one. So this is the one that he done of the Queen. So there's Ben Nwanwu there and the Queen. Okay. And there's so much that I could show you of art from Nigeria. The art of Ife, for instance. In fact, let me. There we go. The art of Ife. Now, Ife is kind of, so just like Kamasi is a spiritual heartland of the Ashanti people of Ghana, Ife is a spiritual heartland of the Yoruba people of Nigeria, and they believe that that's where the world began. That's where humanity began, in Ife. David Attenborough said that the naturalistic art of Ife could compare with the ancient art of Greece and Rome. Okay, I wish I had more time to be able to kind of introduce more of the art of not just of Nigeria but the rest of Africa. Okay. Right. So what we're going to do? I'm in two minds whether to show you, because I've got there really is just so much that I can share with you, and I'm just thinking I had set pieces to show you, but kind of I'm thinking that I just want to show you as much as possible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick out let's pick out okay. This is an artwork by the Hemba. So the Hemba are a people of the southern part of the present day Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This is called Singiti, which is an ancestral male figure. You can see the beard there. But what a lovely, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, the terms that come to my mind when I see this, when we think of this as an ancestral figure, words like meditative, composed, dignified, reflective, just some, a stunning piece of sculpture. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, because I know that I've got to work within a certain time frame, but let me just show you some. So there's another Singiti. Okay, another one there. They just look. The word serene comes to mind. Okay, this is of the Luba people, also in the Congo. This was an umboka, a bowl-bearing figure, and in here they would hold sacred clay called a kaolin, which the diviner would smear on himself before he called an ancestral spirit to help him try and find a solution to a problem. And also, when you entered the presence of the king, then you'd have to smear some of this on you as well. Okay. So that's just a brief spotlight on the art that comes from the Congo. Okay. We're going to go back into Nigeria to look at some of the, to bring it into the contemporary, because these are all kind of traditional artwork. So what I'm going to do is, using this book, and this book is great, Artists of Nigeria. If you want to find a book about Nigerian art, past and present, this is the one, Artists of Nigeria. And as I said in the first session, if anyone wants to borrow any books, just get in contact with me. We can have a discussion about the subject matter you want and the most appropriate book. And then I will cycle around to where you are, and it'll either be put through the letterbox or under the mat. Okay? Perfect. Okay, let's look at some of the great contemporary art that's happening now in Africa, in Nigeria. Okay. So this guy here is Abiadana Alaku. I'm a man that loves water, especially rivers and lakes. So I was really attracted to these, which are almost sort of like photographs. They're such a great depiction of the waterways. Obiadan Olaku. And just give you a... There's our man there. Obiadan Olaku. And this is what he's mainly known for. The scenes of the waters that he either at sunrise or at sunset. Okay. Let's go on to Olu Amoda. And the way he's used kind of scrap metal to make make these figures. A recycling man. Seated figure. That there looks like a dreadlocks figure, just a head. Okay. Laura Idejax. A market scene. Okay, from her. Now, this guy here, he is, for me, I don't think there's, well, I haven't come across any other artist who depicts motion and speed like how he does. It's fascinating how he gives you that great portrayal. Give you there's his face. There you go. Hassan Iliou. Okay. But that's the thing that attracts me most to his work, the way he just portrays motion and speed. Okay. I love this one. So this is one of the artists who was an important exponent of what we call Onaism. Now, Ona, O-N-A, is the Yoruba word for art or design. And so people such as him started to dig into their past and use traditional Yoruba motifs and bringing them into the contemporary setting. And this is one of my favourite. I just love this. I just love that. Just this playful picture of two girls just playing in the sun. Okay. On their father. Okay. I just like his everyday pictures, workaday pictures, market scenes. And just perfect, kind of, the woman's been there all day. She's probably been up early, doing whatever, fetching water, cooking food, and now she's at the market. And she's tired out. Another one there, waiting for the next customer. Just wonderful, everyday pictures. Just life going on. We all like to sit sometimes when we've got time and watch life go by. And it seems as if this is what this artist has done. Whereas we just watch, he's actually painted life going by. Yeah. Okay. So, one of the legacies from his father's work is that he's also kind of portrayed dance dance and movement, which is something that his father portrayed. And then we get some portraits. Okay, so we've gone from the father. So you can see where, like, for instance, we're talking about dance and movement. See there? And then we come to here where he's also portraying movement and dance, celebration. Okay. What I'd like to do is, before I introduce you to the Chokwe that we're going to finish with the Chokwe people, I just want to introduce you to a Caribbean artist. So if you go on onto my website, African School website, africanschool.weebly.com. Weebly is WEEBLY, so africanschool.weebly.com. If you go on there, you'll be able to see these magazines that I put together called Izibongo. Izibongo is an Unguni term that we associate with the Zulu people, which means celebration or praise. So this is a term that I've used to celebrate these artists from Africa, the Caribbean, and African America. Okay, so this is a young artist from Barbados called Sheena Rose. And I focused in putting together this issue. I've focused on her celebration of women. So let's look at some of these, some of her artwork. So this is Sheena Rose, who comes from Barbados, a contemporary artist. And as you can see, she's worked in Barbados, South Africa, Suriname. So there we go. And there she is. Okay, so as I say, if you go on my website, africanschool.weebly.com, and go to the Izibongo section, you'll be able to get a link to this. And I put together 100 or 101 issues of Izibongo, as I said, focusing on art of the past and the present from Africa, the Caribbean, and African America. Okay, to finish with, let's go back to the past. Chokwe, the Chokwe from Angola and the Congo, known as famous as elephant hunters. Chibunda Ilunga, who's their kind of culture hero, was this great hunter and blacksmith. Okay, so Chokwe. This is an art. This is a mask called Pwo. PWO, and these were danced by young men during their initiation from boyhood into manhood. They would dance. They would dress up as women and dance dance these masks in celebration of womanhood. So this was part of their initiation into manhood. Okay. Lovely. It's one of my favourite masks of Africa. So that's called a Pwo mask, PWO. And as I said, it was danced by young men in their initiation ceremony in celebration of womanhood and female and ancestry. So what I'm going to do, to finish, I'm just going to drum a piece because as I said, these masks were danced, and if there's dance in Africa, then there's got to be the drum. So, and these young men would be all these kind of slow, kind of refined, dignified movement. So I'm just going to play a slow piece. Which I think suits the celebration that we're thinking of. Okay. Okay, so that was just a piece in a celebration of the chocolate women of Angola and the Congo. So that finishes this part of the journey, looking at the art of Africa, past and the present, and of the Caribbean. I wasn't able to in the time that we've had, I wasn't able to look at the art of African America. But please, when you have a chance, just Google Harlem Renaissance. Google Harlem Renaissance, that will come up with a load of art. You'll be looking at people like Lois Malou Jones, which is this woman here, Lois Malou Jones, Aaron Douglas, people like this guy here, Charles Alston, and you can even go further. I mean, you can look at the photography of the Smith brothers. You can look at the music of Fats Waller, Billie Holiday, Nat King Cole, Jacob Lawrence, another artist, Gordon Parks, photographer and filmmaker. Probably his most famous offering is Shaft. He made the Shaft. Oscar Michaud, the first ever black filmmaker. So please, time wasn't on our sides, but please, to look at the African American contribution, you could start with the Harlem Renaissance, which was this great outpouring of art and creativity in the early part of the 20th century, in the 20s and 30s. So thank you very much for your time. I hope I've been able to give you an introduction to the art that black people have made over time. So what I would say is, look at the art of, if they even go even further back, look at the art of the Nok people, N-O-K, in central Nigeria. Their work has been carbon dated to the 5th century BC. And then you've got the art of the Igbo. Excavations have shown that they were producing great art in the 9th and 10th centuries AD. So there's a whole lot of art of the past and of the present. So please just use this lesson as a an introduction, a springboard, and I hope that you enjoy diving in further to art from Africa.